Good morning, everybody. Happy September. I'm feeling the joy and maybe the existential hangover of August lingering on me today, but I'm glad it's September. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society of Schenectady. My name is LB. You can use any pronouns for me. Thank you for coming into this circle of caring people, journeying with curiosity, and may we find meaning together this morning. Today is the first day of September 2024. It's good to see you all. I hope your summer has been full and relaxing. If you are visiting us for the first time, we offer you an especially warm welcome. We hope that all will stay after the service for a time of conversation and connection. Conversations can happen on Zoom, here in the hall, or out in the back garden. Looks like while it is humid, the sun is poking itself out.
This morning, we kindle our chalice with these words from Martin Luther King, Jr. No work is insignificant. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. We'd like to share this call and response written by Amanda Odis-Kessler. The words for the congregation to say will be up there on the screen. On Labor Day, we honor our work, physical and mental, paid and unpaid, joyous and heartbreaking.
Separates difficulties and strives to make labor just and joyous for all.
Our work can build our society, provide our material needs, and give our life meaning. Our work can damage society and the planet, fail to sustain our material needs, and be meaningless.
We join together to create work that supports the well-being of all.
Our work can heal the world, help us understand who we are, and keep us safe.
We labor in joy.
Our work can harm the world, demean us, and expose us to danger. Our work can fill our days with accomplishments and our lives with stories.
We labor in love.
Our work can dissatisfy and alienate us. We may not be able to find enough work or any work.
We join together to create work that blesses us, all people, and the planet.
This Labor Day and all Labor Days to come.
Let us take some time now to sit together in stillness. You might place your feet on or towards the floor with your hands resting in your lap or wherever they are most comfortable. Closing your eyes or watching the chalice flame can help us get quiet and centered. Grace Lee Boggs is an American author, social activist, philosopher, and feminist, and offers us this quote: "Love isn't about what we did yesterday, it's about what we do today and tomorrow and the day after." Let us have some moments for our own internal prayers or meditations to think about the present and the future possibilities of love.
Before I begin my reflection today, I want to address the elephant in the room. Some of you are probably thinking, why is Lars doing a reflection this Sunday? We're talking about spirituality in the workplace, and he works for the legislature, a notoriously bad work environment full of backstabbing and drama. What's up with that? Well, to understand why I'm here today, I need to explain why I even work in politics to begin with. I got into politics at a young age because I've always had a drive to make the world a better place. There's something in me that pushes me to do more, help people with less, and make the world a better place. When I went off to college, the college's slogan was Challenge Convention, Change Our World. I wanted to go to college and learn how to be that agent of change in the world. And I imagine that people in different fields have a similar drive to make the world a better place. An artist can use their skills to create art and make the world beautiful. A counselor or therapist works with someone to make their life just a little bit easier. An inventor can create something that everyone can use. For me, I'm involved in politics because that means I can help shape policies that can make everyone's lives just a little bit better. And why do I work in politics and not just volunteer? It comes down from a quote from Dahl, who says, "How we spend our days, of course, is how we spend our lives." I try to make the world a better place outside of work, too. I'm very proud of my work with the UU The Vote team. The efforts of UU The Vote can genuinely make a difference, helping elect leaders who advocate for changing policy to make the world a better place. I highly encourage all of you who aren't involved just to try volunteering, even if it is just writing 20 postcards. Hopefully, you'll find, like I do, that it feels good to do good and make a difference in the world. Part of that drive to do good also comes out of a spiritual place. Nearly every morning, including this morning, we say our bond of union. Sometimes it feels like we say it just to say it, and we lose sight of the meaning. But one line always sticks out to me. Service is our prayer. To me, doing social justice, either at work, at home, on my own time, is an important spiritual practice. I agree with former UUA President Peter Morales when he said that, quote, "Deep spirituality, a loving nature, expresses itself in action. An action that springs love deepens us and makes us more loving. Love and action cannot be separated." So when I go to work every morning, it's not just a walk to a place where I can earn a little bit of money. I'm going to a place where I can engage in my spiritual practice and trying to make the world more loving. Going to work, unfortunately, comes with all the downsides of a typical job, plus an extra dose of drama that you can hear about on the nightly news. But there are still people there working to make the world a better place every single day. And some of those people I agree with, others not so much. But as long as those other people genuinely believe what they're saying, I can respect and admire their efforts. For all I know, even the people I disagree with may be showing up to work, and that might be their spiritual practice as well. I encourage all of you, when you're feeling disappointed at work, whether it's a paid job or otherwise, to try to look around you, see the good in the world that you make, and see how you can help out.
As a card-carrying democratic socialist, and as a person that daily lectures my kids on the perils of capitalism, when I wrote this week's description, there was a level of cringe I had in my own writing. Labor as spirituality, work as a place of community, those don't, to me, initially don't sound like the words of an anti-capitalist. Yet every day through my job, I see the challenges and the kind of underminings of my own theoretical pursuits. The belief that I have, the strong belief, sometimes militant belief that I have, that our system of work, particularly in the US, a system of work and labor is inherently exploitative and deeply unfair and inequitable. And the parallel truth that most of us spend an incredible amount of time at our jobs, and we find a lot of purpose and meaning in our work. Those two kind of dueling points are always grinding up against my anti-capitalist rants at home. A few things that I do believe before I go further. I don't believe that everyone needs to love their jobs, their day-to-day jobs, or be career motivated. There are many people who are fulfilled having a job that they go to with the purpose of paying bills and then living very rich and robust lives outside of work with hobbies, families, creative pursuits. Some of us can leave work at work, and sometimes I really envy those people. Another thing that I believe is that there's no hierarchy of value when it comes to work. Despite our wage system, white-collar jobs that demand multiple advanced degrees are no more important than blue-collar jobs that don't. Our system is built on the belief that those of us, and I am one of those people with white-collar jobs, have more value than those that don't have advanced degrees and work the jobs that require and rely predominantly on physical labor. It's a dangerous myth and one that more dramatically harms already marginalized groups. For example, caretaking jobs, direct service providers are overrepresented by Black and brown people, women, immigrants, while jobs in finance and tech, and even leadership in nonprofit jobs are overrepresented by white people and men and people with advanced degrees. This very system itself is very lopsided. The third truth is that emotional labor and the work of the household and child rearing are valid forms of work that, despite some raised consciousness, still go deeply unseen and undervalued. We saw very clearly what were the essential jobs to our society during the pandemic. And even through all of that, our system and our cultural beliefs have not changed very much. Despite all the problems with the system, work is still a place of deep connection for many of us, and we spend a lot of time there. And for many of us, it gives us purpose and meaning. Take, for example, my mom. She had 2 jobs her entire life. She was a career waitress, and I think that was her most favorite job. And she also worked in an elementary school as a teacher's assistant. She retired from the school over 6 years ago, yet she still regularly signs up to substitute teach almost every day of the school year. For her, her community, her social network, her purpose is deeply rooted in her work. The connection she seeks is not a religious one, or even a hobby. It is work. And despite my protests that she still works too much and that, Mom, you've been retired. You do know the definition of like retired, right? Her happiness is intimately connected to her work. Her reason for getting up behind her kids and her grandkids is still going to work. And as more people are looking for alternatives to traditional spiritual homes away from religious institutions, I've thought a lot about the possibility of work as a place of not only connection, but as a place to cultivate shared values and practice accountability. Work is a place that through community can support community and cultural shifts. The sector of work that I work in is technically called DEI work. This is a very wide umbrella that covers a lot of different approaches to DEI topics. And if you haven't heard, there's a big push in many states to ban DEI programs from K through 12 education, higher education, and in the workplace. Then President Trump banned it from the federal government during his term, and currently there are over 100 cases targeting DEI programs and services across many states, according to the Meltzer Center at NYU Law. DEI work, whatever you want to call it or whatever it looks like, is being targeted and dismantled because what DEI work actually asks us to do, young people, workers, all of us, is to think critically. And thinking critically is what leads people to both political consciousness and also connection. This kind of consciousness raising and connection ultimately leads to community, and it's one of the reasons me and my family joined UU, and I've heard many of the same from you. The work we do here is spiritual, and it is also work. Organizing, leading, teaching, cooking, cleaning, running the tech deck, battling tech demons, fixing the building that we're in, requires something of us, and in turn we hope to receive something. I feel lucky to have a spiritual home outside of work that aligns with how I see the world. And I also work really hard to make sure that my relationships with the people in my day job are healthy, because honestly, I spend far too much time with them. And when those relationships are not well, it consumes much of my well-being. We're celebrating Labor Day tomorrow, and labor unions have had a comeback, growing in size and political power. And I am as pro-union as the day is long. But there are many places that don't or can't unionize. And while unions do work hard for workers' rights, they can't fix everything overnight and are not immune to the same issues facing the rest of the organizations around us. And we also don't need to have a union to connect with our coworkers around to what is important to us as people and to make the world and the workplace more fair and more connected. Because so many Americans don't have a religious home, a place where values used to be reinforced, I believe a site of change in our culture has been and could continue to be the workplace. Not in a proselytizing way, not in a having follow scripture, a certain religious kind of way, but in a way that recenters fairness and equity, and at least asks us to think critically. We've become so siloed as a country, and the political circus has driven us further apart. Many of us knowingly and unknowingly work with people we disagree with politically. What if work required us, through everyday well-being, required us not necessarily to agree, but to learn to listen to each other better, to learn to hear each other and be accountable to each other? That is the first and fundamental step to connection. For me, some of the most powerful lessons on organizing and change have been from labor organizers, those advocating on behalf of the workers. They are some of the most diverse bodies of change in the country, working hard to make things right for all workers. For me, that's a place of spirituality, a place where people who look very different are fighting for the same thing. Rather than pitting identity against each other, people are banding together to work against a system. I take those lessons into my work every day, advocating for people to look at the flaws in the system rather than the disagreements between the individuals. And for me, that's the meaning of Labor Day and what keeps me connected to making the world a better place. And making the world a better place always makes me feel connected to something bigger, something spiritual. So on the eve of this Labor Day, I leave you with these questions. What kinds of work, creative, paid, unpaid, brings you joy and connection? What has brought you purpose to your life? What kind of world do you want to see for workers, present and future? And what does Labor Day mean to you? All right, following the benediction and our shared chalice extinguishing, we hope you'll stay for conversation and connection. Our final words are more from Grace Lee Boggs. Here she reminds us that labor is not merely for gathering wealth, and wealth is not found in material things. She said, when you read Marx or Jesus this way, you come to see that real wealth is not material wealth, and real poverty is not just the lack of food, shelter, and clothing. Real poverty is the belief that the purpose of life is acquiring wealth and owning things. Real wealth is not the possession of property, but the recognition that our deepest need as human beings is to keep developing our natural and acquired powers to relate to other human beings. Go in peace and have a good week. Thank you so much for being here.